Hey guys, Jeff Wiggum. Hope everybody's doing well. This is the Revelation. This is a review because I did not do a preview. I apologize. But let's go through Revelation 8. We've already done this one a couple weeks ago, actually. As we start off, this will be a little bit about what we cover in our little home church Bible study kind of thing. Well, the fact is that, the whole 9 yards is really about people, right? Coming to Jesus Christ. And that's what our job is. That's why we study the Bible, so we can please God and we can share this love with others, that some might come from death to life. Because sometimes this dragon looks all good, and the dragon in the Bible is always the devil, right? And all this symbology that this tattooed chick over here has, or dude, I don't know, but thrown in with a cross. But whatever this world tries to tell us, the fact is, Jesus is saving us from the dragon, right? The dragon, the old serpent, and the devil and Satan are all the same. And so this is our job, share the good news, because these people aren't criminals that might not know this. A lot of folks might be confused, like this girl with the dragon, then the cross, good chance is confused. But nonetheless, all we can do is share. And so let's make sure we're studying because of that. We did because he lives in the show. We talk about where everything takes place. The story of the Bible takes place pretty much in this box from basically the edge of Iran over through Italy and down into northern Egypt. But most of it over here on the edge. So, and that's about 1,600 miles away from the good old USA. We talk about the timeline, and basically we do that in class. So if we're 2,000 years after Jesus, Abraham was about 2,000 years before Jesus. And you can look at that and pause and study if you want to. World population development. Sometimes we're going to hear about a lot of people dying in Revelations. Or the Revelation, no S, excuse me. And so it just lets us know how many people are on the planet right now, about 7 billion in this little bit of time, but how few people were on it in the past. Which is key to remember in Revelation, because we're talking about live people living in the flesh on earth. As far as having to deal with these trumpets and vials and woes and whatnot. But there's a lot of folks on earth. And this is just interesting stuff to create discussion. We're definitely always going to try to keep being more familiar with our Bible, New Testament, Old Testament. The Law of the Torah, the history books, 12 history books, 5 poetry books, 5 books of the major prophets and 12 minors. Not hard to memorize, but for some reason it's difficult to stick with us. So far in chapter 6, we heard 6 of the seals. In chapter 7, we had a pause in the action where the Christians, the believers, were sealed. And now in 8, we're going to pick up the 7th trumpet, the 7th seal, which is going to include the 7th trumpet. So we did a review. Chapter 1, introduction, 2 and 3, the 7 churches. And this, I'm going to try to get to the text. So chapters 4 and 5, a vision of heaven. 4 was mostly heaven, this throne room. 5 was when the Lamb that was slain showed up, Jesus. Chapter 6, we got through 6 seals that included 4 horsemen, the martyrs, and the 6th seal that had all the calamities it seems like we're reading about from now on. Chapter 7, there was a pause, and the 144,000 were marked with the seal of God, and the martyrs out of the Great Tribulation showed up in heaven. So today we're going to get on 8. And it's a few chapters from now before we deal with the 7th seal, conclude the 7th seal. But we're going to get into it now, and we're going to start with 7 trumpets. 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 vials or bowls. And that's sort of the way they unfold. So we also talked about comparing these judgments that we have back with the plagues of Exodus. That's going to be very informative, right? of when they left, the plagues leaving Exodus compared to these trumpet and bowl judgments. This is a breakdown of chapters we've gone through, chapters that are in this next grouping. And again, studying Revelation, I recommend doing it with putting a little time and intention in it. But that's up to you. So I want to just go verse through verse as opposed to reading the whole thing. Revelation 8, verse 1. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. Now we remember in chapter 7, that one angel rising out of the east told the angels on the four corners of the earth to wait while he marked. That would mark put the seal on the 144,000. To me, that correlates a little bit about this silence thing. And I saw the seven angels which stood before God, and to them were given seven trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar, which was before the throne. So we've heard about this, prayers of saints going up like incense before God. And we heard about altars. This is what the altar of incense looked like in the temple. We're familiar with these little censers. If you've ever been to some churches, they're burning incense and they go walk down the aisle and swing it. So we have this angel who has a censer with some fire and all these prayers. And the smoke of the incense which came from the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. Okay. Important to remember how important our prayers are. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. So that isn't even a trumpet. The angel throws that censer that has fire in it into the earth, and there was all kinds of trouble and stuff happening. And verse 6, and the seven angels which had the seven trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and a third part of trees was burned up, and all green grass was burned up. So the first angel, remember, these angels have jobs. All angels are not the same. They have jobs. I'm sure they have training. I'm sure there's position, whether one's elevated over another one, and that's absolutely the case in heaven. That with the responsibilities, maybe it's lower than the other one, and the most responsible are the lowest. However it is, there's hierarchy and order. So we got this first big calamity. A third of all the trees, all the green grass, burn up. And that's how the judgment's going to happen. It's not going to be water like the flood from the past. It's going to be fire. And the second angel sounded, and as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and a third part of the sea became as blood. All right, fast and furious. Second angel, great mountain burning with fire. Some people think volcano. And this sea, this is sort of the saltwater sea. A third part of it became as blood. Remember how the river in Egypt became as blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. I guess if a ship gets destroyed, the humans go in the water and die, I'm guessing. But it doesn't seem to address that directly. Verse 10, and the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. Okay, third angel, again, fast action. Now it's hitting all the fresh water. The last one was salt water. Time before that was vegetation. I could draw parallels to both the creation days and to coming out of Egypt, the plagues of Egypt. But we did that in person. Glad to talk with anybody about it if you have questions. 11. And the name of the star is called wormwood, and a third part of the water became wormwood. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Also poisonous, that's what that means. So there we go, wormwood, yep. And some clever modern person has named some kind of asteroid or something out there, wormwood. I don't know what that means. But we've all heard about wormwood, and here it is. Star. We're going to find out later these stars are angels. 12. And the fourth angel sounded, and a third part of the sun was smitten, and a third part of the moon, and a third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened. And the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. So with this, the more we think about this revelation, the more it's going to stick with us. Trumpets, fourth angel. We're hearing about a lot of thirds being hit, right? We heard about the green grass on the first one. We heard about the salt water. We heard about the fresh water. Now we're hearing about the celestial things, right? Sun, moon, stars. That's day 4, by the way, of creation. Sun, moon, stars. So, darkened. Third part. Also might remind you of a third part of the stars were swept by the dragon's tail. We'll read about later in chapter 12, I believe, of Revelation. So, interesting. Third, and then when you really get detailed and think about the third part of them was darkened, well, the third part of the sun, or the moon, which meant that a part of the day was darkened. Which part? More hours or just less light? I don't know. 13. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, 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 to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet, of the 3 angels, which are yet to sound. Okay, so now we're getting at the end. We've had 4 angels, 4 problems. They hit the land, they hit the oceans, they hit the fresh water, right? They hit the celestial beings, stars, sun, and moon. Now an angel's coming up. This almost sounds like another intermission. Angels taking time to go, big woe is coming. 3 of them. And that concludes chapter 8. So that was quick. As just a review or a preview if you're studying it. Glad to speak to anybody about it, questions or otherwise. All right, God bless you guys.